All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second episode of In the Pocket, presented by CrossBonesMMA.com. My name is Eddie Law. I'm your host. With me today, as always, my friend Nick Pilecki. How's it going, man?
Good, man. I'm doing better than the UFC right now. Apparently, their production building just caught on fire. So,
yeah, I saw that tweet where Dana White's out there in front of the fire truck with his hands out, like, what the fuck? Like, and the tweet says, "Now our production building is on fire. What's next? What else can go wrong this week?" Be careful what you ask for, Dana. You never fucking know. You never know. Machida might get hurt in like a day, or you know, some worse shit could happen. Like, I don't know. I guess MMA doesn't get legalized in New York. But let's be honest about this. All right, a lot of people want to see MMA in New York. I don't care. It may be great to have an event in New York because New York is the, I guess the capital. It could be the capital of, the world as far as entertainment goes. But LA is definitely creeping up, and I think Nick Pilecki just froze. And Nick, so he froze. All right. So look, regardless, for the sake of the fact that MMA being illegal anywhere is ridiculous, call New York and let them know that they need to legalize that shit. Do you freeze for a second? Again? All right, Nick Pilecki's freezing. All right, let's do the rundown of the show. First, right away, we're going to talk about Jose Aldo's injury. Of course, he gets hurt. 2.5 weeks out of the fight? Conor McGregor is kind of hanging there, trying to figure out basically what's going to happen with that fight. Conor obviously wants to fight. All these Irish fans are coming in and everything. And then we're going to move on. We're going to talk about UFC Berlin. We're going to talk about UFC Hollywood this weekend. It's Hollywood, Florida, not Hollywood, California. So that's something to keep in mind. Then Bellator 138, what the fuck? The one-night man to four-man tournament, the Bellator's going to put on Tito versus McGreary for the title. Shlemenko fucks up. Let's put it that way. And, of course, our top five to end the show here. And we keep losing Mr. Pilecki. So we'll give him a chance to come back in a second here. All right, let's get right into it. Jose Aldo was rumored and basically confirmed by everybody in the internet that Jose Aldo's rib was fractured in training. His sparring partner, in fact, has been outed, and then he came out himself saying he's very sad that his spinning back kick, as I believe what he said, is what hurt Aldo. So when you heard about Jose Aldo getting hurt, man, what was your reaction? I'm assuming it was the same as everybody else.
yes, I was furious, very furious. I'm tired of this injury bug happening all over the place, just with every card that I really, really, really want to watch. Thankfully, it didn't happen with the Kane fight. It happened with other cards in the past, and it's getting ridiculous, and it sucks because it's kind of weird because there was speculation that Aldo and drug testing and stuff, and now he has a rib injury. And rib injuries suck. I'll be honest with it. I had a broken rib before and torn cartilage in my rib, and it sucks. If you breathe, if you laugh, if you move any sort of way, it hurts. So it sucks. I'm not happy about it, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, I've had rib injuries as well. In fact, I've had a fractured rib, and mine didn't heal, I guess, like it should have. So it'll still pop once in a while. It's really weird, but it does. Anyway, so look, rib injuries at 2.5 weeks out of a fight, really hard to fight with a rib injury. Really, really hard. Chris Weidman actually had to have his fight postponed due to a rib injury not too long ago. And it's at the point where, we're looking to see, will the UFC pull Conor? I don't think he pulled Conor. I think too many Irish fans and obviously too much money has been put into this fight to pull Conor from the card. Every fan was hoping Jose Aldo was actually going to fight. And again, nothing official has come out saying that he's been pulled. Okay. But I love the cryptic shit that's coming out on Twitter. Chad Mendes tweeted out just arriving in Vegas, Frankie Edgar with a picture of himself holding I think his daughter or one of his kids, staring at his phone, just, with the caption, waiting on the call. All these guys are just like waiting, just itching to get a 2-week notice fight against Conor McGregor, who has been training his ass off in Vegas and has a ton of momentum. And we were looking at the biggest fight in the featherweight division ever, right? So what are you thinking here? What do you think? The UFC bring somebody else in? Do they postpone the fight and piss off a lot of Irish fans, a lot of fans in general? Or do you bring in a Frankie Edgar or Chad Mendes or, God forbid, if you're a favor, or somebody else?
You bring in any fighter that you can. You need to save this. if you have all the fans from Ireland coming down to see their boy fight and you pull the fight, like you said, you're going to have a lot of mad Irish fans on your hands that came to see Conor, came to see the main event, came to see him fight for the title. He's not going to – he might not fight for the title yet. It's not 100% sure, but yes, you bring someone in. You bring a Uriah Faber. You bring Chad Mendes. You bring Frankie Edgar. I've been saying it for months now. I think that fight should have happened before the Aldo fight. And my wish might come true. I might get Frankie Edgar versus Conor and see what happens in that fight. If Conor can somehow beat Frankie Edgar, yes, you give him an automatic title shot. He already earned it apparently by beating Dennis Seaver, but we'll have to see.
Beat Dennis Seaver, get the fuck out of here. Did you watch his fight last weekend? All right, come on. Look, how about this? How about the idea that people are throwing around an interim title?
Yes, I don't want it, but I do want it. It's complicated. A marketing standpoint, you do want an interim title. If Aldo somehow beats Frankie Edgar, whoever his opponent might be, and you give him an interim championship, that adds fuel and that adds a good marketing tactic and great posters for the potential Aldo versus McGregor fight to unify the belt. So yeah, I think they would do an interim belt. I don't want it to be an interim belt. I just want him to fight. Just win and get up to your title shot. I don't like the term interim champion, unless you've been out for almost 2 years like Kane or like GSP has been. So no, I don't want the interim, but I think they'll do it as a marketing standpoint.
All right. I mean, it could happen. I don't agree with it. Jose Aldo hasn't been, just like you said, he hasn't been out like Kane. He wasn't out like GSP was. It's a really rough spot for the UFC, but I think I can understand it on a marketing standpoint. Do a champion versus champion card the way they did it with Fabricio and Kane. Although it wasn't as big as I thought it should have been or could have been as far as promotion wise. But hell, during UFC 188, they were promoting 189. They didn't give a fuck. So it was anyway. So it sucks. It was the loudest groan heard around the world on Twitter when Jose Aldo got the news came out that he got hurt, because we were almost there, man. We were almost there. During the what's it called, the Fighter Companion podcast that Joe Rogan does, that's all they kept talking about was July 11th just needs to get here now. And now, more than likely, look, I know it hasn't been officially ruled out, but you might as well officially rule it out, right? Yeah. The rib injury is no joke, all right? And please believe now that everyone knows Jose Aldo has a rib injury, please believe Conor McGregor hits that spot exclusively. Doesn't even go for the head or legs, just hits that one spot, okay? So no, it's not going to happen. A certain douchebag in the MMA media said, "Oh, they should have kept their mouth shut because they could have, come up with a different strategy." The fuck are you talking about? You're gonna fight with a fractured rib? That clearly came from a tool that's never trained before. Okay, that guy does not know what it's like to get hit ever. He probably, played checkers and basketball and shit and got mad. Basket. No, you fouled me. Probably knows how to flop. I don't like this guy clearly. Anyway, so I'm assuming we'll hear something from the UFC in the next, if not by the end of today, tomorrow. I would assume we're gonna hear something from the UFC, because you need to let the people, know what the fight's gonna be, or if we're gonna get a fight. And so I don't know. Who knows? Jose Aldo injury, UFC or what do they call the production building's on fire. Dana White's, has no hair left, so he's probably pulling his scalp out. And so it's the world's going to shit for the UFC right now. I think it's saved by a Frankie Edgar step up. Yes. I think that's the fight you make. I think that's the fight everybody wanted anyway. And interim title or not, it doesn't matter. It's just make the fight, because that would be just awesome.
Do you think they switched the order? Do you think they put Robbie Lawler, Rory McDonald as a main event and then move Conor down to the co, since it won't be a title fight, or if it is an interim title fight, or do you think they keep him as a main event?
You know what? Let's talk about this real quick. This Rory McDonald, Robbie Lawler fight has been so under promoted.
That fight's going to be sick.
People forget that it's even on the card sometimes. All I talk about is Conor Aldo, right? So I think you gotta keep it the way it is if it's Frankie. If it's like Chad Mendes or somebody else, nah, fuck it. Just bump it down. But keep it a 5-rounder, by the way.
Yeah.
I think anyway. But if it's Frankie, you leave it as a main event, because that's a hell of a main event right there. And it would be a big ups to Frankie Edgar if he was able to step up with 2 weeks notice to fight Conor McGregor, who's on he's on a tear. Mostly he's getting fed. He's getting fed guys. The only legit guys that he's fought is Dustin Poirier. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, let's get Frankie Edgar in there and see what goes down. I'd be really, really down to see that. All right. What did he say? Oh, okay. So real quick, if you follow me on Twitter, I tweeted out a video. If you watch Keyboard Warriors at all, you know who Fred Kirby is, and he's a big fan of the man bun, right? He has long hair, so he puts it up in a man bun. I found this video on Reddit today called "It's a Song." It's a terrible song. It's a terrible job singing it, but it's called "Stop the Man Bun," and I tweeted it out, and I tagged. I forgot to tag you, Nick, but I tagged Andrew Reed. I tagged Aaron Robbins, and of course, I had to tag Fred Kirby. And so now they're talking about it, and Andrew Reed talking about it, tweeting out that hipster bollocks should be punishable by garroting. Keep in mind he's English, so a couple words will be a little different, but he's absolutely right. That was a shitty song. All right, so moving on here. Last weekend we got UFC Berlin. Johanna Jędrzejczyk gave Jessica Penne a new nose. Man, just beat the crap out of her. What do you think of the strawweight champion? Obviously, she's the most dominant one in the division, the very, very literally months-old division, or less than months-old division. She's dominant as hell. I don't see anybody else beating her, and everyone's starting to compare her to Ronda Rousey. What do you think of Johanna Jędrzejczyk?
Comparing her to Ronda Rousey is kind of comparing apples to oranges. It's a different weight class. It's a completely different thing, but she is scary as all hell. That whole division, I don't think there's anyone in that whole division besides Michelle Waterson that is making her debut in the UFC, or maybe Rose giving her a shot at or a good fight. I don't think there's anyone in that division that will pose a threat to her. I think she's going to be a champion for a very, very long time. She's a scary, scary, scary chick who destroyed Penne.
Yeah, no, and look, big up to Jessica Penne, man. She's a durable, tough chick. Yeah. She took a hell of a whole lot of punishment in that fight, man. It was, it made me kind of sad to see. It really did. But a lot of jokes. I was jokesters on Twitter. A lot of them were mostly girls actually saying, "Well, at least Jessica Penne can now have a nose job." And I'm like, you guys are kind of assholes for that. You could have told that before, and you didn't, prick. So, yeah. So other fights that went down on the card here. Dennis Siver, the aforementioned Dennis Siver, losing to Kawajiri via decision, I believe is what it was. Yeah. Unanimous, in fact, which means, that win over Dennis Siver to me doesn't mean jack squat for Conor. Then Peter Sabata submitting Stephen Kennedy, and Nick Hine winning a boring-ass decision against Lucas Sajewski. So, it wasn't a great card. It wasn't like awesome. A bunch of crazy shit happening. Mako Amirkhani did get a submission win over Masio Follin, but unfortunately, my boy Masio is not the greatest of fighters. So, and Amirkhani is a special guy, but I don't think he's gonna do much in that division. But I could be wrong. You never know. Let's see. Oh shoot, I clicked something. Hold up. All right. Marbek Taisumov knocked Alan Patrick out. All right. And Nicholas Backstrom loses to Noad Lahat. That was actually a pretty good fight. What'd you think of that one?
That was like one of the fights I got to watch when I was at work. It was a good fight. Very entertaining. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. And then, other than that, the rest of the fights are kind of like, eh. Oh, wait, no. Let's talk about this motherfucker. Arnold Allen, who came out with the Arnold is numero uno t-shirt, and I was rooting against him for the t-shirt only. Don't know jack squat about the guy. Don't care jack squat about the guy. Didn't give a shit even now, but his shirt was garbage, and I was hoping that he was going to lose, but he didn't. He ended up pulling off, I believe it was a submission win over Alan Omer, who's not really that special himself, but they're calling this guy the next big Brit to come into the UFC. What do you think of that?
Who's our biggest Brit right now? Bisping?
Yeah,
it was Dan Hardy maybe before. I don't care. we'll have to let his fighting do the talking, other than people saying he's the next big Brit, because we have the next big Irish fighter coming out with Duffy and Connor. Let's see what they do in the cage first before we say they're the next big thing, or a big thing out of the country.
Real quick, if you're the UFC, do you fuck around and put Joe Duffy in there against Conor this weekend?
Yes.
Next weekend?
Yes. Yes. I want to see it. Personally, I want to see it. The last guy to beat Conor, getting a title, getting a great like main event fight out of nowhere. He's been actually pleading for it. I think he put something on Twitter saying, "Hey, I'll fight him. I'll be there tomorrow, today, in a couple hours. If you want me to, I will be there to sign the papers." So I want to see it, but I really want to see Frankie first.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. Joe Duffy's and as they're getting put in there and he submits Conor again. That'd be insane. All right, let's move on here. Yeah, exactly. Let's move on here to actually this weekend's card. Lyoto Machida against Yoel Romero in Hollywood, Florida. Thus the hashtag. What is that?
954.
954.
Okay. I graduated from. That's actually where my home is in Hollywood, Florida. The Hard Rock Casino is basically I can walk there within 5 minutes from my house and my high school. So. I want to be there, but not anymore actually, because we'll probably get into that right now. So
yeah, let's talk about the fight actually. First of all, 12 guys pulled from the card. That's 6 fights total, basically pulled from the card due to visa issues. They were saying it's a computer issue and a bunch of the garbage. They lost I think Eric Silva and Rick Story out of that card. They lost a lot of guys. About the only fights that are really, and I hate to say worth watching. I think if a fighter has the balls to get in there, they're at least worth giving attention to and seeing what they can do. But we're talking Santiago Ponzinibbio against Lawrence Larkin, and of course the main event Machida against Romero, and Eddie Gordon against Antonio Carlos Jr. Those 3 fights right there seem pretty, should be pretty entertaining. Before that, we get Thiago Santos against Steve Bossy, who was supposed to fight I think a couple weeks ago, and ended up not getting fighting. And then Hakran Diaz against Levan Makashvili. Most of the guys on the prelims are like, okay. Especially that the creepy weasel from ATT from Tough 21. If you guys remember, he's the guy that had the what do they call it? He had the medical issue. Fuck. No. Damn it, Steve Montgomery. He fucking had a seizure. There you go. He had a seizure on the show, and he had to pull out of the competition due to seizure. So UFC. They gave him his word. Their word that they were going to give him a shot, and now he's got a shot. So he's going to fight Tony Sims, a guy no one knows. And Leandro Silva fights Luis Gonzalez again, and Alex Oliveira against Joe Merritt, undefeated 6-0 guy. And they call him Joey Slash. The nickname alone makes me want him to see him lose real bad. Because Joey Slash. Okay, first of all, real quick, on a fucking tangent here, fighters, you cannot give yourselves nicknames. Stop. Okay, Brendan Schaub, I'm looking at you. All right, you can't just call yourself Big Brown, okay? You just can't. It's not gonna happen. It's
not working. Change it?
That's what I'm saying. He used to be a hybrid.
There you go. It was hybrid.
That was a garbage nickname too. All right, but at least it was given to him supposedly. You can go, I'm just gonna be known as Big Brown now. Fuck out of here with that shit. All right.
The creepy weasel. We got who else? We have Lethal, Joey Slash
on this card.
Hornet, the Boss. Eddie Truck Jordan. Okay, I can like that. I like that nickname. That's different.
Yeah, Cara de Zapato is shoe face in Brazilian.
The Monsoon and the soldier of God. Go to hell, Yoel Romero. Go to hell, sir.
The soldier of God, my friend. I like the dragon. That's original as fuck. Someone else give it to him. So at least look. If someone else gives you the nickname, even if it's like, Joe Dogshit Smith, fine. If someone else gives it to you, that's your nickname. That's great. You can't change your own nickname and call yourself like the Spartan. Who is that? I know someone has that shit. I know for sure someone has that shit. You cannot. First of all, let's put the nickname Pitbull. Ban it. No more. You can't call yourself Pitbull anymore.
Patrice from Bellator. There's Tiago Pitbull. There's
everyone's a fucking Pitbull.
Andre Arlovsky. That's 3 automatically. No more.
Yeah. Once we hit 3, stop. That's it. If you come into the UFC and your name's Pitbull, either we don't say your nickname ever, Bruce doesn't say your nickname ever, you don't say your nickname ever, or you change, or you talk to your team and be like, hey, look, I need a new nickname. You guys got like a month before I fight. Help me out. Okay, do something, but stop with the bullshit nicknames. Okay, at least Shootface over here, Junior, Carlos, what's his name? Antonio Carlos Jr., whose nickname is Shootface. That's original. That makes sense. Okay. Even who else is it? Matt Mitchell, Meathead. That makes sense. Awesome. Okay. Cain Velasquez doesn't have one. Fabricio is Caballo or something like that. That's my point. You can't give yourself a nickname. Huh?
Marlon Sam Alvey, original.
That's original as all kinds of fuck, and it's absolutely true. The dude will not stop smiling ever. So, yeah, cut the shit, people. Cut the shit. Stop, son. Stop. All right. Moving on here. Let's talk about Machida against Romero. It's a big fight. To me, it looks like a really good fight. A lot of people saying Machida's gonna just wait till Romero gasses and the first 30 seconds of the fight. What do you think of this fight?
I don't know. I'm intrigued to see what happens. I didn't know Yoel was ranked number 6 in the division. I don't know. It's the only way Machida wins if he gasses Yoel out. But if Romero comes in and rushes him and actually catches him, he's gonna go night-night. We've seen Rashad Evans do it to you. It's gonna happen. No, you knocked out Rashad Evans. Who knocked him out? Why can't I think?
Who knocked out Rockhold?
No, who knocked out Lyoto in light heavyweight? Why can I? Shogun. Shogun.
Yeah, Shogun did it.
Shogun. So if Romero rushes him and catches him, I think he can get the win. But Machida's going to play smart here. He's going to play his distance. He's going to wait for his shots. He's going to pick his shots, and then he's going to land one. So yeah, I'm going to go with Machida.
I'm going Machida as well, just for the fact that Yoel Romero's going to gas out, possibly shit himself at some point, and then lose. So, and I know Aaron Robbins gave me shit for that one, but that's not a joke. I really do think he's going to shit himself. All right, that's legit right there. All right, moving on here. Let's talk about Bellator 138. Went down on Friday. Okay, overall it was a good card. It was a decent card. All right?
No, very, very good card.
It was entertaining as fuck. The only reason I say decent is because a lot of things about it bothered me. But let's just go right into it. The Patrice, was it Patrice Pitbull?
Yes.
That fight was awesome. What'd you think of that?
Well, I was watching it late. Got home from work, started watching it. I actually asked Eddie, I'm like, hey, what fight should I watch? Should I just skip to the main event and just watch it, or should I watch the whole card? And you're like, watch the Pitbull fight. I was like, oh, okay, fine, I'll watch it. And you're like, just go to towards the end of the round and then the beginning of the second round. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. So I watch it. So Pitbull lost, in my opinion. He lost. He got knocked out in the first round. He was done. He got dropped, and Big John gave him the benefit of the doubt. End of the round, got him up. In the beginning of the second round, he looked still gone. And he got caught again, but then he knocked his opponent out with one left hand, and it was done.
That was one of the first times I had what I call the Joe Rogan reaction, where you're like, just jumping out of your seat, that kind of shit. You're free. Oh my god!
Yep.
Unbelievable. That shit. I had that reaction. I was just like, holy fuck, because I thought the fight was over right after the first round when Pitbull was out, because that dude was out. He's gone.
He's gone.
Over.
He's sitting in his corner. His coach is like, hey, wake up. Hey, pay attention. And he's just staring into space, just sitting there. He was gone.
Yeah, and to have a comeback like that, I mean, what's his name? Weichel fucked that up.
Yeah.
He fucked up. All right, he had that one. So, but still, a lot of credit to Pitbull, man. That was a big time comeback. And then the other fight I want to talk about, Bobby Lashley taking on basically last second replacement Dan Charles. Bobby Lashley is a big dude, and he has cardio apparently, and obviously a lot of wrestlers do. But he ended up throwing Dan Charles around like it was nothing. What do you think of that? Or did you watch it?
If you have that much strength, picking up another heavyweight and suplexing him over and over and over for 3 rounds, you have some crazy ass cardio. I'll give you that. Bobby Lashley was campaigning for a heavyweight title shot. I think he should get it. His wrestling skill is good. He's not one of the boring wrestlers that will just hug you and hold you down and just change positions. He's punching you in the face constantly with his heavy ass hands. So very impressed with Bobby Lashley. I like the way he's been growing, and not to mention he's not a full-time MMA fighter. He's not always training. He does pro wrestling on the side too. He's not 100% fighter. So if he picked his time, left this pro wrestling shit and came into MMA and just stuck to it, I think he'd be a great champion and possibly in the UFC.
Do you think Bobby Lashley? Because first of all, I'm surprised he's already the heavyweight champion. Do you think Bobby Lashley's on the juice?
No. Got to watch his amateur wrestling or his wrestling back in the day when he was in the military. He was always that big. He's just big. I don't know if he's taking extra shit on the side, but I think that's really him. I think he's really just that big and he's that built.
All right, let's talk about the main event: Ken Shamrock against Kimbo Slice, and what to me looked like theater. Look, and I'll go first because I know I got to get this out before I forget it. Basically, they clinched in like a 50-50 bent at the waist kind of shit for about 30 seconds, and it made no sense. It makes zero sense at all. When you're in MMA, you want to be close because you want to throw this motherfucker around or at least get him to the cage, right? Pin him somewhere. But no, they just kind of walked back and forth on the cage, and then next thing we know, Kimbo's on the ground and Ken's got his back. Somehow, some way, Kimbo gets out of a choke. By the way, Ken Shamrock's been doing jiu-jitsu for years. He is a freaking expert. All right. And he had the rear naked choke on the top of the head instead of the back, like it's supposed to, right? Mm-hmm. So Kimbo gets back up with a weird little get up, and then, in a very real way, knocks out Ken Shamrock. He fucking hit him with that shit. It was Joe Rogan came out and said it looked fake as fuck. I'm agree with it. It looked fake as fuck to me. What do you think?
It's very weird. I think it was fake. I was actually listening to Chael Sonnen's podcast, and he actually said something that actually made me think about it. You have to think about this. You have two people who argue with me, crappy fighters. Ken Shamrock, tell me the last person he's fought besides Kimbo. Tell me some big names that he's beaten besides Boss Rutan, and that's about it. Dan Severn.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not the greatest fighter in the world. Yes, his nickname's the most dangerous man in the world, whatever the hell. And then you tell me who Kimbo Slice has beaten besides who? Nobody. You had two crappy fighters fighting, and that's what you got. You got the result of two crappy fighters fighting. But I do think it was worked. I think it was fixed. I think it was some staged crap that once they locked up, they were talking to each other, just like pro wrestlers do. They talk to each other, they tell them what's going on. I'm going to take you down. I'm going to get you in a rear naked choke. You're going to power out of it. You're going to throw a punch. I don't know if he meant to actually clip him with the punch, if they were going to pull and actually continue the fight, but he hit him hard and he cut his eyebrow open pretty deep. So it looked fake as all hell. I was pissed off that whole night because I actually wanted to see kind of an entertaining fight and kind of a veteran and a street brawler fight, but we saw a pro wrestling match.
And here's the thing, and my first thought when they even announced the fight, I was like, Ken Shamrock take down to a leg lock, game over. Like, why are we even doing this? This is stupid.
Exactly.
And it was very strange to me when they clinched up, and then just like you were saying, it looked like they were just talking to each other, and then all that shit went down. I was just like, this is horse shit. This is complete bullshit. There's a lot of people coming out, saying like, oh, if you think it's bullshit, you think it's fake, you don't know fighting. Bellator would never do that. Coker would never do that. No one said Bellator fixed it. There might have been just an agreement between them too. And maybe the agreement was, okay, you're going to beat me this way and whatever. And then Kimbo said, fuck the agreement. Boom!
I'm going to get paid.
I'm going to get paid with his right hand on your face. So whatever he hit him with. So, yeah, dude, it looked fake as fuck. And honestly, who cares? But here's the problem. Here's the big problem I have with it now. After the fight, Seth Petrozelli, as we know, who's the guy who stepped up in literally seconds notice and beat Kimbo in the UFC, rushed the cage, and they brushed him off like he was nothing. Then Royce Gracie's going, yeah, I'll fight Ken Shamrock and Bellator. Why not? I'm like, oh, geez. And then now there's like fighter fucking anybody that, a bunch of guys that are retired and shouldn't be fighting anyway, coming out of, I'm waiting for Tim Sylvia to fucking come out of nowhere and say, I want to fight Bellator too. All these old guys are coming out saying they want to fight in Bellator because Bellator's doing it. UFC's not doing any of this shit. Now Bellator's allowing it. Now, a lot of people are saying this is good because it lets fighters fight. I argue that, at this point, Bellator can't, they keep doing shit like this. To me, they can't really be, consider themselves a sport. That they're promoting a sport. To me, they're promoting entertainment, aka pro wrestling. And I know I'm gonna get heat for that one. But what do you think of that?
I have to agree with you. That's the only way. If they're gonna have their main events and not focus on the growing fighters that they actually have on the card, it's pro wrestling. The only way Bellator will sell, well, they sold me, which we'll get into it later, but the only way they sell me with a dream fight or a super fight is if somehow they get Anderson Silva and GSP or John Jones and somebody fighting on their card. Other than that, no, I really don't care about any other main events unless it's a title event with people that are growing in the sport with mixed martial arts. So Pitbull, you have King Mo, sometimes you have Phil Davis, you have Emmanuel Newton, you have all those fighters down there. Grow them. Stop becoming this pro wrestling crap that, okay, casual fans want to see. We don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. I was sold on the Kimbo Slice fight because I wanted to see it, but no, I don't. I really don't care for Bellator right now. Besides what they're going to do in a couple months.
All right. Before we talk about that, let's talk about Tito getting the title shot against Liam McGeary. They Tito came out in the promotion that when they announced it, he was trying to be tough and all that, and then they were playing buddy in the background like they thought no one could see him. What do you think of that bullshit?
Liam played it right. He was like, "Hey, I'm excited to fight this Hall of Famer. I'm really excited. It's going to boost up my career. I'm excited to fight you. Can't wait to kick your ass." And then Tito's like, I hate Brits. I hate you all. I'm going to knock your teeth down your throat. Whatever. My belt. And then in the background, they're just laughing and chuckling and joking. I just called you an asshole. Did you like that? Yeah. No, you're stupid. Don't break character. Don't become, what the hell's his name? Yes, don't become Ben Rothwell. Yeah,
that was I don't know. Tito fucked up. Should have kept character, or at least walked off the scene. The fucking out of camera shot and pull that bullshit. The other announcement, which is actually the one legit thing Bellator is doing because I think it's awesome, is a 4-man one-night tournament for light heavyweight in the light heavyweight division. I'm assuming that winner is going to challenge the winner of Tito McGeary for the belt. What's his name? Linton Vassell.
Mm-hmm.
Linton Vassell or Bassel, forgot how you say that. Emmanuel Newton, King Mo, and the newly signed Phil Davis are going to fight. Now, the best part of this whole announcement thing is Phil Davis was reportedly taking a shit when they announced this tournament. Okay. Apparently, he was in the building. Everyone was like, even I said, I was like, oh, shit, Phil Davis, big-time Bellator. Oh, fuck, what are they going to do? And then he came out, I think, on Twitter, or somebody fucking tweeted out a screen cap of a conversation that they were having with Phil Davis, and Phil Davis said, I was literally in the bathroom. I was in the bathroom when they were doing that. So Phil Davis was taking a shit when they announced this, which to me is fucking hilarious. But regardless of that, one-night 4-man tournament, first of all, who you got and how excited are you that Bellator's finally doing something legit?
I'm excited for it. I love the whole concept of this card is awesome, except for the main event because I really don't care, just like every Bellator main event. But I like the 4-man tournament all one night. On one night, the first round is going to be 2 5-minute rounds, and then the next round is going to be 3 5-minute rounds. I see the finals being probably King Mo versus Phil Davis. I kind of want to see Phil Davis do it, but we'll have to see.
All right. I would think Phil Davis would find a way to bore you into a decision win, which with a possible King Mo upset. I think King Mo is legit, and a lot of people just they kind of undervalue that guy. But he fights anybody anytime. All right, he's fought heavyweight. He just fought Czech Congo and beat him. So that I'm a big King Mo fan. I really am, and I really really wish that I could buy him being in the UFC. But even if he got to the UFC, I think he would get destroyed. So anyway. What the hell? That's gonna be our Bellator 138 talk here, and our Bellator overall. Let's talk about actually a former Bellator guy. I'm not sure if he's been released or not. I'm assuming he has because he can't fight for 3 years. Alexander Shlemenko was suspended for 3 years and fined $10,000 after that positive test in California. It's throwing a whole holy shit what's going on type of thing around MMA. Obviously, people comparing it to UFC, saying, "Are you gonna get? Is it 2 year suspension?" First of all, Shlemenko's not in the UFC, and although I believe these suspensions are taken up by the commissions, not really, 100% only UFC. The commissions pick it up, but I don't know all the details about that. But his career is fucking over, right?
Yep. Yeah, time to find a new job. Goodbye. We're not going to see you back in Bellator, and if you are back in Bellator, we don't care. 3 years is a long enough time for everyone to forget who you are. And I already forgot who you are because you're gone for 3 years. I don't care. I'm going to see someone else. Good job on Bellator. Suspended him 3 years. I thought it was 9 months that they first came out with, and that
was Honey Jason, which that's bullshit too. But we'll talk about that some other time.
3 years. Good job, Bellator. You're stepping up your game a little bit.
I think it was California, not Bellator. Bellator wouldn't do that. I think Bellator knows better. They would lose so many guys. I'm assuming that they would never do that. But regardless, it's a good step towards having a legitimately clean sport. So unlike baseball, who's stupid, because baseball you need roids. All right, let's be honest. If any baseball fans are watching us, be honest with yourself. Have you enjoyed baseball since they banned roids? All right, have you enjoyed baseball since Sammy Sosa and what's his name, the ginger guy, McGuire? Since McGuire and Sosa went off for the home run, that was literally the last time I watched baseball when I was a kid. All right, after that, no one wants to watch a pitching battle. Get the fuck out of here. It's like, a perfect game. I was like, a perfect game doesn't only happen ever so often. Only 23 times in the history of baseball. Yeah, and it's boring as dog shit. Nobody wants to see that. Okay, nobody except for the pitcher and the defense. That's about it. Okay, but I'm way off topic right now. Anyway, that kind of shit bothers me when people bitch about steroids in like baseball and shit. And,
just think football season's only a couple months away.
2 months away. Bring on the HGH. Make them bigger. I'm assuming they have some kind of problem too. All right, so that brings us to our last segment of the show, the top 5. And this week's top 5, in honor of Jose Aldo and the Conor McGregor fight, more than likely being shot to shit. The top 5 injury cancels fights, I'll call it. Basically, an injury happened and canceled the fight. Mine's a little funky, but I'll explain it little by little as we go. But if you want to go ahead and go with your number 5.
Yeah, I'll go first. But actually, this topic was really, really hard to figure out. But my number 5 is going to be John Jones versus Dan Henderson, UFC 151. It's first time UFC canceled the whole damn card. They're like, John Jones ain't fighting. We don't like this card. Goodbye card. They lost $40 million, I think, of some revenue for that fight. And yeah, that's going to be my number 5 because I actually did want to see John Jones either destroy Dan Henderson or Dan Henderson catch him with the H-bomb. And then during that whole thing, Chael Sonnen called him out, and it looked like John Jones was scared to Chael Sonnen. So that kind of sold it for me.
Yeah, actually, you know what? My number 5 is the same thing. John Jones, Dan Henderson. Dan Henderson pulling out with a knee injury, and Chael Sonnen stepping up immediately like Chael Sonnen always does today. I'll fight him. And John Jones and Greg Jackson, John Jones' coach, coming out saying, "Oh, well, we're not going to take that fight. It doesn't make any sense." We prepared for Dan Henderson. We didn't prepare for Chael Sonnen. And a lot of, John Jones and his coach insinuating that Chael Sonnen might have been preparing in the background, for a John Jones fight. So basically, they were basically saying that Chael Sonnen had been training already, knowing that Dan Henderson was going to pull out. Which okay, I mean, sure, maybe, but do you think Chael Sonnen ever had a chance against John Jones? No. So hell no. I mean, other than the fact that his toe was fucked at the end of
30 seconds fight. More. 30 seconds more, and new light heavyweight champion. But no, it didn't happen. And then 5 days later, and stripped light heavyweight champion because he was on everything in his mom's fucking pharmacy fucking cabinet. So no disrespect to the bad guy. But yeah, that's my number 5. What's your number 4? My number 4. Wait, I just lost my list. Okay, my number 4 is going to be Barnett versus Fedor Affliction Trilogy. That was the card, and Barnett got suspended and kicked out of Affliction for his test results coming back too high or whatever it was. Kind of want to see Barnett fight Fedor and see if Fedor can last the storm of Barnett, but we never got to see that fight, and we actually never got to see Fedor in the UFC either fight anybody. So that's going to be my number 4. All right, not necessarily an injury, but close enough with the fucking PD bullshit. Yeah. All right, and your boy Michael Reyes tweeting back, "You're right, baseball's boring now." So I'm fucking right. And he's a huge baseball fan. Just let the fans know. He's a huge baseball fan. Yeah, he needs to start telling people that roids are needed. All right, moving on here. My number 4, Carlos Condit versus Matt Brown. Brown pulled out due to injury, and that killed me because that's a fight that would have been awesome. It would have been an insane fight. Just crazy shit. Fuck. It'd have been chaos. It would have been awesome. And of course, Carlos Condit then blows his knee out against Tyron Woodley, and we never got to see the fight. So still holding out hope that somehow they make that fight if Matt Brown isn't cut from the UFC in his next fight. Yeah, hopefully one of these days. So that's my number 4. What do you got for number 3? My number 3, we're going to get it in a couple months. I think in actually a month or so. Dillashaw Brow 2. I missed the Dillashaw Brow 1 fight. It was my first pay-per-view that I ever missed. Very upset that I missed it. But I wanted to see number 2 really, really bad. I was already had my plans all worked out and everything. And I think Dillashaw pulled out. No, Brow pulled out. because of an injury. So we didn't get to see it. We didn't get to see a third. Hopefully, God, please, hopefully we get to see it a third time.
Yeah, Bra pulled out due to the fact that he cut weight weirdly and bumped his freaking head in a bathtub somewhere. So that did it, apparently. All right, moving on here. My number 3 is going to be Cain Velasquez for Fabricio Verdum in Mexico, UFC 180. Cain basically tearing his MCL and extending his basically being out for a lot longer than it was. Dude was out for 2 years, came back, put a shit performance at 188. But to me, Cain should have been on that first card in Mexico, right? Because that first card in Mexico was just okay, right? And the second card in Mexico, unfortunately, was as well. And part of that was also to the Gilbert Melendez-Eddie Alvarez fight. But overall, Cain getting injured. Cain didn't get injured at all. It depresses the hell out of me. So that's my number 3. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is going to be UFC 163 Aldo versus Pettis.
Motherfucker. Sorry, go ahead.
It was supposed to happen. Pettis pulled out because of a knee injury, because goddamn Pettis. Need to wrap him in bubble wrap every damn time he has to fight. So, yeah, that's going to be my number 2.
My number 2 is the same thing. Jose Aldo against Anthony Pettis. Busting his knee up. Seems like Pettis always gets hurt. And after that, Pettis actually ended up helping Pettis out. He got the title shot against Benson Henderson and then submitted him and got the 155 title. So, dude, that sucks to see. And I hate seeing Pettis get hurt ever because he's such a fun fighter when he's healthy. But then RDA styled on him real bad, and then you wonder if all these injuries are catching up to these guys, right? Pettis being injured so many times, the performance against RDA. Cain being injured so many times, the performance against Fabricio. Who else could get, the injuries just kill everybody, and it takes a toll on these guys. They're definitely human, but they definitely push themselves a little too hard. All right, so that was my number 2. Your number 1.
All right, my runner-up's going to be Aldo versus Conor, because I know that shit's going to end up being a bust. But UFC 175, I'm pretty sure it's your number 1 too. Chael Sonnen versus Vanderlei. Never got to see it. I still want to see it. It was so hype with the Ultimate Fighter, them actually brawling at the Ultimate Fighter, so much shit talk and everything, and Silva ran away from a drug test. So they're like, okay, and then Chael Sonnen failed everything and his mom. So yeah, I want to see that fight. I still want to see it. Let's make it happen in Japan or China, wherever the hell they want to do it, or let's make it happen in Metamoris, because I still want to see it.
Yeah. See, I argue that fight already went down on the set of Tough Brazil. All right, Vanderlei, if it wasn't planned, by the way, because who fucking knows these days with Chael. But the fact that Chael ducked that I think it was like a left or right hand, and then just shot in and took him down. I think pretty sure Vanderlei got hurt in that little scuffle. So I don't care. I think we saw it already. But that's not my number 1. My number 1, and I don't care what anyone says. God, okay, I'm making it official. No, I'm making it official. Jose Aldo will be out of this fight. He will not be fighting Conor McGregor at UFC 189. We're going to get somebody else. All right. I'm going to be the first one to say it official because everyone else is a pussy. They're not going to come out and say it. I'm going to say it. This fight is off. It's over. Forget it. Done. All right. Frankie Edgar or someone else is going to step up and fight Conor McGregor. But all the hype, millions of dollars, the production office is on fire. Oh, what the fuck? And then the fight's off. What the fuck? Really? Like, this is a fight everybody's been waiting for. So much shit talk, so much money, so much promotion, the world tour. The fact that every card since the announcement of this fight has been under promoted. Every single card has been under promoted before this 189 card was, when it was announced. So now we don't get the title fight. We don't get the main event. So that to me is gonna be the number 1. And believe me, when they will announce it officially. And I'm telling you right now, I'm not telling you because I have any inside knowledge. I'm not an MMA insider like everyone else wants to fucking claim they are. But common sense says you're not fighting with a fractured rib on 2.5 weeks rest. Because if you rest in 2.5 weeks, it's a lot of training you're missing, and the weight cut is going to get you. So that's just my 2 cents. But I'll tell you what, if I'm wrong and Jose Aldo balls up and fights anyway, props to that dude. That's a bad motherfucker. But
Anderson did it. We might get it. I don't know.
But Anderson didn't publicize it before it happened.
True.
He didn't come out and say, hey, by the way, my rib's fucked up. You should hit me right here. So that's kind of what it is. So that was my number 1. So it's our top 5 for this week. If you have any suggestions or topics or top 5, send them in on Twitter at Elaw31, at NickXMicro, or at CrossBonesMMA. Any of those, we'll get them, and then we'll work on those lists for you. Because I'll be honest with you, we came up with this one today, and it was a bitch. So,
Yep. And then the other idea I had was even harder because I was thinking about it. I was like, nah.
The idea was kind of weird. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it for today's show. You got anything else, Nick? Anything you want to say?
No. Besides Bellator and Glory mixing, that's cool.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Part of that Bellator card is going to be Glory. It's basically going to be during the 4-man tournament, the one-night tournament. In between that, we're going to get Glory fights. Joe Schilling, Paul Daly. Hell, Joe Schilling is enough.
Pat Barry better be on the card.
You're hoping Pat Barry's on the card. Joe Schilling. Joe Schilling should be enough for you to tune in. That's it. Joe
Schilling's fighting this Friday, right? Or next Friday? Is he fighting in the cartoon?
No, I don't know. Good question.
Either way, Joe Schilling's fighting in a kickboxing. That's all you need.
You need to see that. That dude's a bad motherfucker. All right. So other than that, that's it. So we got I think that's it. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for tuning in. Goddamn, I almost forgot that. The site has been redesigned. If you haven't gone to CrossBonesMMA.com in a while, go now, like right now. Fucking brand new, redesigned. I'm gonna keep making changes to it, of course, and improving it as much as possible. We have a forum. It's not really going yet because none of you guys have signed up yet. So get in there, register, sign up, start talking about MMA, and having some fun on the forum. The ULI page is also on there. It's a little link at the very end of it. So that's just because
don't pay attention to it. No, I'm joking. No, pay attention. That link's awesome.
All right. Anyway, so thanks for tuning in to In the Pocket. Again, you can follow Nick at NickXMike. You can follow me at Elo31. Follow the page at CrossBonesMMA. Keyboard Warriors, of course, is at Keyboard MMA. And obviously the Facebook page, facebook.com/CrossBonesMMA. We're everywhere. We're on iTunes. Subscribe to that shit. We're on YouTube. Subscribe to that shit. We're everywhere. You can't avoid us. You might as well subscribe to all that shit and just get it over with. So thanks for tuning in. Everybody have a wonderful afternoon. And have a good week. See you guys.